You guys probably already know my channel is pretty heavily based around installing and reviewing lots of different products for my third generation Toyota Tacoma over here, and I find a lot of these products by looking at other people's Tacomas, watching YouTube videos, and occasionally by scrolling through TacomaWorld. Now, if you don't know what TacomaWorld is, it's basically a forum website where people can post about anything and everything Toyota Tacoma. So you can like start your own thread and watch other Tacoma owners comment on them and read what they have to say. So when I look through these forums, whether it be intentionally or accidentally sometimes, I stumble upon some really cool things. And by cool things, I don't mean products you can just buy from anywhere. I mean like a user will come up with their own solution to a unique problem or just come up with a really awesome product. They'll post about it on the forums, and a bunch of other people like me who maybe have the same problem or just really like the product see it and want it as well. Let me give you an example. I got some OEM LED headlights a while ago from Sparks Parts for my truck. Now, to install those headlights though, I needed a conversion harness that would allow my current factory wiring to be compatible with the new headlights. I searched and searched online for a good solution and eventually stumbled upon TacomaWorld threads, as I do. And there on the forums I found another Tacoma owner who makes and sells these harnesses. Now, since then I've ordered several other wiring harnesses through him, which I'll get into later in this video, but it's overall been really great. It solved a lot of problems in my truck. And honestly, I really like supporting other Tacoma owners who are just like you and I who come up with these creative solutions. So I think sourcing modifications from people who make and sell things on TacomaWorld is just awesome all around. So with that being said, this video is going to be a compilation of the modifications I've installed on my Tacoma that I found through TacomaWorld. These are from people that make and sell products that originated from TacomaWorld, as far as I can tell. Now, obviously, there are probably a lot of you out there who post your products on TacomaWorld that I don't even know about yet. So if that's the case, definitely leave a comment down below. Or if you bought a product from someone who makes and sells it on TacomaWorld, leave a comment too. I think that would be really fun to read through. Before we get into talking about different products from TacomaWorld, I wanted to give a huge thank you to one of my biggest supporters of my channel for sponsoring today's video, Techron. Now, you guys know I'm all about keeping up with the maintenance on my Toyotas, and one of the easiest things I do during my maintenance routine is use a 20-ounce bottle of Techron Complete Fuel System Cleaner. I pour it into my nearly empty gas tank of my Tacoma. But what does that do for my truck exactly, and why do I do it? It really is just preventative maintenance to help keep the fuel system clean so that I can get the long-term expected performance out of my Toyota. Yes, the truck behind me is relatively new. Yes, I don't expect any major problems like carbon buildup or loss of power or performance at this point. But it's just one of those things that's so easy to do. And you guys, the other day I was at Advanced Auto Parts and I saw at the checkout they have a buy one get one free right now for Techron Complete Fuel System Cleaner. And that's a great deal if you want to get started and try it yourself. So I will have a link in the description where you can read more about what Techron Complete Fuel System Cleaner can do for your vehicle. But now let's jump into some of the TacomaWorld mods. We've got a lot of products to talk about in this video, so I don't want to get into too much detail for each, but for most of these products, I have a dedicated video here on my channel, so I'll have that linked down in the description. I'll also timestamp this video so you can jump around if you want. Hope you enjoy. A modification I alluded to earlier were my LED headlights. Now, these are OEM and I actually didn't get them from TacomaWorld, of course. If you're getting OEM parts, you gotta source them from an authorized dealership or authorized Toyota parts online seller. But even though these are OEM headlights for the third generation Toyota Tacoma, they're not compatible with every single third gen out of the box. Yes, they obviously fit onto the truck, but in my case, my 2019 didn't have the compatible wiring, so my original halogen OEM headlights didn't have the same wiring harnesses that these headlights needed. That was something that Toyota updated with their 2020 and newer trucks. So the way I got these headlights to fit my truck, which they weren't supposed to be compatible, was all through a wiring harness made by a gentleman named Dave Issa, who's on TacomaWorld. He makes all sorts of conversion harnesses for Tacoma headlights, and actually now he's kind of moved to a website, so I will have that link down below as well if you're in need of a wiring harness conversion. I could tell right off the bat that his work was phenomenal. His wiring is extremely clean. All of them are labeled as well, which is not something you typically see, and it's just like a nice little thing to have. The wires are color coded and it's just a beautiful thing to see. If finding a headlight conversion harness that worked for exactly what I needed through Dave wasn't enough, he also has some other really cool wiring harnesses. You know when it's nighttime and you put your truck in reverse, and all these third generation Toyota Tacomas, I believe, have a reverse camera that pops up on the screen. But like I said, it's nighttime, and one of the annoying things I used to have is that my license plate lights were very bright and would overexpose the camera, and I couldn't see as well as I was backing up. Well, there is a TacomaWorld mod for that. Dave also makes the disable and reverse mod, which is basically a wiring harness. It's super easy to hook up, and I have a video all about it. Basically, it solves the problem of overexposure in your rear camera view when you go in reverse, because basically it's a relay that cuts power off those license plate lights just when you go in reverse. That way you get no extra glare, which is especially helpful if you've upgraded your license plate lights to be LED ones that are extra bright. But when you're not in reverse, the license plate lights still get power and they function as they should. Now, I always have to mention this when I talk about this mod here on the channel, but is this legal? Maybe. Probably not. Do modifications to your truck at your own comfort level, but again, the license plate lights are really only shutting off when you're in reverse. When you go back into drive, back into park, whatever, again, your license plate lights turn back on. Your truck functions just as it did before. But yeah, this one's super cool, super unique if you haven't heard about it before, and I find it really useful myself. Perhaps this isn't something you've ever thought about before, but did you know the third generation Toyota Tacoma tailgate is pretty easy to steal if left unlocked? Let me give you a demonstration on how to completely remove this Tacoma's tailgate. Step 1, open the tailgate. Now see these cables that are holding the tailgate in? Unhinge these by basically pulling the tailgate up a little, sliding them off. Step 3, cut or detach this wiring harness, which I'm not going to do, but that's what you would do. Then for the last step, lift it and pull it from the passenger side. Hold on, normally this thing comes right off. Okay, you guys see this bracket piece right here? This is the modification preventing me from actually pulling the tailgate off. This bracket right here, and if it was off and there was nothing covering this opening, normally you'd be able to lift up and pull the tailgate right out. As you can see, this bracket is mounted to my actual tailgate itself using a security Torx bolt, and it's kind of U-shaped underneath, and that's what prevents the tailgate from being pulled out from the opening over here. This was yet another modification sourced from TacomaWorld. The user who makes them is Christian06. I believe he makes them for both 2nd gen and 3rd gen, which is what my Tacoma is. What I really love about it is that, as you can see, it's very well color matched to the silver of my truck. He color matches this to your truck, and because of that, this isn't something that pops out. It's very stealthy, which I like. You guys might remember my old solution was a hose clamp over this. Obviously, that's less secure because someone could either unbolt that pretty easily or just cut that. This is much trickier and overall a better looking solution in my opinion. So really clever idea and really nice execution by Christian on this one. This is one of my favorite recent modifications for sure. I've done several wiring projects on my Tacoma here on this channel, and I've gone pretty custom with some of them. For wiring up my cube lights, for example, I got a fuse block, I got a bunch of different relays, I got this mount, drilled holes in that mount to put my relays in. It was a lot of work and the end product turned out pretty well, and I have a whole video on that if you're interested. But I recently gutted that whole thing, and not because it was bad or not working or anything, I really liked it. But a couple small flaws with that design were, one, the bracket I used was a little bit too close for my liking to the brake sensor wires. And the bracket was made of metal. I don't think it would have actually cut through those wires, but again, they were a little too close for my comfort. Also, as you could see, the whole setup was exposed and open to the elements. And then there were only a couple places where I could put relays. There was really only, I believe, 4 places I could fit extra relays, which means I could really only add 4 extra accessories, even though I'm only running 1 now, my cube lights. So someone who posted their setup on TacomaWorld saw that video, reached out to me about a better fuse block / relay setup. Joe makes these 3D printed brackets that allow you to mount a waterproof fuse and relay block. And that whole setup allows you to run up to 6 accessories. It's all contained super nicely. Since it's waterproof, of course, it's all covered up, but it's also really easy to access. But what I think I personally like about it most is that it looks so OEM and so factory. And by that, I mean it looks like it could have come on the truck as is from the Toyota factory. I just personally love that look myself, and not that my version 1 looked bad by any means. It looked actually pretty cool, but again, it just had those minor flaws, and version 2 solved all these problems. I believe the kit is also adaptable if you want to use other fuse block setups. I'll have a link to his TacomaWorld thread and his Etsy posting to this modification, where you can get more detail to see if it's compatible with something you want to set up. But you guys, if you're running accessories and you're down to do your own custom wiring, this is the best solution I found. I am so happy he reached out to me, because this is overall just a much cleaner setup. As I just mentioned, I really like it when modifications I do look like they could have come from the factory. And another thing that I found from TacomaWorld was this switch panel insert from Guild Outfitters. So basically, the left-hand side pocket in the driver's seat of the Toyota Tacoma has a switch panel with lots of different switches, but when you're adding different accessories, maybe you want to add custom switches, and maybe you need something modular and something that you might change out later. I have a couple accessories planned, but I only have 1 wired up right now. So the Guild Outfitters modular switch panel basically allows you to have a custom switch setup, and all of his base panels come with this hole cutout at the top that can fit an aux beam controller, or some of his modular inserts where you can put a different amount of switches and all sorts of different switch sizes. These are actually 3D printed, and at first it was hard for me to believe that. It looks like it came out of a plastic injection mold because the prints are so high quality. I just love that you can take out the factory switch panel and put this one in that will actually fit your switch needs, and it will still look just as good. From this angle, you can probably tell that I've modified my Tacoma's driver's seat quite a bit. I mean, the most obvious thing is this fire extinguisher right here. I actually have this quick drop mount where you can pull a pin and it will release the fire extinguisher, which is pretty cool. But I've got a couple other things as well, like the infamous seat jackers. Now, if you guys don't know what these are sold by Desert Does It, and I first found out about these on TacomaWorld. They kind of are as they sound. They basically lift the seat up so you're at a more comfortable seating position, and it's really hard to explain, but let me just show you my first reaction to sitting in my seat after I installed these the first time. I will say like 99% of the people I talk to that install this mod love it. And Desert Does It also makes the quick drop mount, which is mounted to their multi-mount panel that I demonstrated just a second ago. The way he's done this is by adapting the seat jackers to be really versatile. I think is cool, and another use for seat jackers is that since they lift the seat, it actually gives you a lot of clearance underneath the seat to mount stuff. If you're new here, you may not know this, but this, I have to say, I feel like I say this about everything, but this one really is something I get a lot of use out of. Under my seat is actually a mount made by Desert Does It that allows me to mount an ARB air compressor. So yep, I've got a whole air compressor actually sitting here underneath my seat, and it's really nice because the switch is right over here. And I've only wired it up to work when the ignition is turned on, which is why the switch isn't working right now. But I literally just hook up my air hose over here, flip the switch on, and air up this way. Is this better than mounting your air compressor, say in the engine bay or in your bedside? Well, I would say it really depends on the person. I personally really like this mounting solution because it's just convenient that everything is contained under here. I don't have to pop the hood. Not that that would be like a lot of extra work or anything, but since I had the seat jackers anyways, I figured I might as well have utilized the space, and this fit perfectly underneath, so it was a great modification by Desert Does It. I was skeptical at first if I would even like the seat jackers, which was the first modification that I got from them, but just looking through the TacomaWorld threads, you can really read other people's reviews. And again, it's not something I can really explain to you over camera, it's just something you have to sit in and experience yourself. But really, most people like me think they're a game changer, and give them a try if you haven't and you want to. If you tie stuff down to your bed a lot, I used to utilize these OEM plastic Toyota rail tie downs. They came with my truck. I'm not sure if it was an add-on I paid for or not, but I think they're like maybe $25 or $30 MSRP. Anyways, those rail tie downs are completely fine, but there's two things about them that I don't really like. One is that they're not super stable to start out with. They're fine if you're tying down things that aren't too heavy, but if you're tying down like a bike or a UTV, there's videos, and I know there's another channel who has a Tacoma Bros 4-speed that showed that when he tied his dirt bike down using them, you could see him like flex against the rail. The other thing I don't like about them, and this is kind of a big one for me, is that not all ratchet strap hooks fit around them, and it bothers me so much. It's just like the plastic is too thick and my hooks sometimes just don't fit all the way around. So of course there's a better solution out there, and it was actually made by someone who posted about it on TacomaWorld originally. These are billet tie downs for your rails, and they are so much better than the OEM ones in every capacity. They look better, they have a lower profile so they don't flex, and best of all for me is that they fit my ratchet straps hooks very well due to the unique cuts and openings that he's designed for it. He also makes bed tie downs, so not just things for the rail if you're looking for additional ones too. And this is a modification that's made in multiple different colors, so obviously I have the black ones on my rail, but they also come in blue, red, and I believe silver as well. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed those products from TacomaWorld. I really like filming videos like this, and again, if you are selling your products on TacomaWorld, or maybe you're like me browsing through the forums and saw a product on TacomaWorld that I didn't cover today, definitely leave me a comment down below. Also, a huge thank you to Techron again for sponsoring today's video. Definitely check out the links in the description about Complete Fuel System Cleaner and what it can do for your vehicle. Other than that, if you want to connect more with me, you can follow me on my Instagram. It is at ChloeKuoTaco. I post more in real time on there. But other than that, thank you so much again, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.